Bob Gaudio, thank you so much for your time. You wrote these songs in the 60s, and we still love them.
Well, that's pretty exciting, and the way the show has been fashioned, it's just extended that for me. It's a real thrill, the way they're set and the story and all, and having them actually work so well. And here we are in 2000, you know. So this is a blessing.
It's probably difficult to ask the composer, but what makes the songs of the Four Seasons, what is that magic component in there?
You know something, since we started and since I started when I was 15, it's just been about what I like doing. It's been about the music, what gives me chills, what raises the hair on my arms, and it's not, I couldn't in a million years say I could speak of other music, but my own. I get a little bit of that when I'm in the audience, a little bit of the feeling of what people felt back in the 60s with us, and that's quite thrilling because performers never really get to experience that side of the street. And to see people crying and dancing and speaking so highly when they walk out of here is just a major thrill. And it was a thrill for my kids, too, because to sit in the audience and watch them watch me on that stage is pretty surreal.
He does actually look like you too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. We went out to dinner the other night, and it was, my wife was sitting in between the both of us, and I saw her go, turning her head back and forth, and she was just, this is so bizarre. And I'm sure it is. It's a big thrill and an honor to see this happen and have this happen and still be alive.
How closely involved with the production are you?
Frankie and I both spent a lot of time in the early part of it with the book and being written, telling our stories, and letting them get as inside as possible. Marshall Brickman and Rick Ellis. And then I had back surgery, and I couldn't get to La Jolla for the original production. And it turned out we had an incredibly capable group of talent that did it with Des McAnuff and Marshall Brickman, Rick Ellis, Sergio Trujillo. They just sailed the ship, and we came out a couple of days before I did, and Frankie came out for opening, and we were just bowled over.
Well, you've done your work. I mean, you wrote the songs.
Yeah. I'd like to.
You created the story.
I'd like to think I wrote the score for this show 40 to 50 years ago. It took a long time, but here we are.
I was very privileged to see the show at the end of '06 in San Francisco.
Yeah. That was our first touring company that went to San Francisco.
And I had my birthday. I had my birthday in San Francisco, and I had both my teenage children with me, and they. Story of the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, well, they got blown away by it.
Well, I think that's been happening a lot. I've seen kids that are 20, 30 years old buy tickets for their parents for birthdays and anniversaries, and they tag along. And I've spoken to a few of them, and they have pretty much that reaction. My God, now we understand why they've been so in love with this. So it's really, really terrific when something like that happens, and you see another generation kind of come along for the ride.
In your spare time, what music does Bob Gaudio listen to?
Something?
Contemporary music.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. I don't really listen to music per se. If it's there and I'm someplace, I enjoy the hell out of it, If you had to, if I had to pick something in particular, I'd say the Black Eyed Peas at the moment, and Fergie, and some of the stuff I've heard them do has just been sensational.
Just out of left field, where would you put Michael Jackson in terms of performance songwriting?
Well, I recorded Michael when he was 15 or 16, did a couple of sides with him, and he is the consummate entertainer, performer, songwriter for that matter. He's there isn't anything that's too much higher than the level he reached.
Bob, I hope you get an opportunity at some point to come across to New Zealand.
Yes, we'd love to. In fact, we were thinking about that from this trip, but I don't think we're going to have the time to do it. And we're going to possibly come back to Sydney if the show goes to Sydney, which is been spoken of, then we'll come back again.
And bring the show to New Zealand.
Yeah, well, then that also. That's definitely been spoken of quite often. So we'll see.
The upside's to come to New Zealand in the summertime. It's
yes,
winter right
yeah,
now.
we made it here in the winter. But hey, if this is as bad as it gets, I'm fine.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you.
today.